Hey everyone, how you doing? No, that was not.
Hey guys,
Hi.
thanks for hanging out with us today on our French Everyday Podcast.
Today,
Did you know our podcast is gluten-free, vegan-friendly, and also made of love?
I'm incredibly emaciated.
Incredibly?
And I am incredibly.
This is a strong start. Really strong start to this episode.
We're just we're barely idling, and then there was a little bit of a misfire.
Mm-hmm.
She's still running though.
You turn the AC on and it just kind of dipped. The RPMs dipped a little bit.
So this is the Wrench Everyday Podcast. My name is Freddie Hernandez. You may know me as Tavarish if you're on the internet. And joining me is my partner in crime, Mr. Andrew Howell.
AKA Finger Guns.
You're bringing it back.
Here it is.
You brought it back.
I brought it back.
Okay. All right. So this in this podcast, we talk about cars and car culture and stuff that goes vroom and boom and anything. Zoom. That's right.
Vroom and boom and zoom.
Yeah, but not Zoom because we are not sponsored by Mazda.
Hey, but if we wanted to be, we probably could get it. Isn't that right, Mazda?
I hate rotaries.
Okay.
So I believe Andrew had some questions from our iWrenchEveryday@gmail email. But before you do that,
Whoa.
I want to talk about something that's near and dear to my heart, and that is cheap Lamborghinis.
I mean,
I want to talk about cheap Lambos.
This is all you, because even cheap Lambos, I can't afford them, so it's all you, brother.
Listen, not with that attitude, okay?
You know what? You're right.
Yeah.
And also not with this current level of income.
Sure. All right. So the question. Actually, I'm getting ahead of myself because we screen these questions a little bit.
We do.
And we did see a question about a cheap Lambo. So why don't you go ahead and...
Well, it's not really a question so much as it is a suggestion.
Just a statement?
And the suggestion comes from...
Dear Wrench Everyday, y'all suck. Okay, noted.
So this comes... And this is just the name that I have here. Candy Man.
All right.
And Candy Man...
Is that two words?
Kandi space MAN.
Okay.
And I think he's coming at us from the...
Reserve my judgment.
I think he's coming at us from the San Fran area.
Okay, cool. So
for those of you who don't know, that's a short for San Francisco.
That's right. That's almost accurate. That's almost there.
So he says, loving your Gallardo project.
Okay, cool. Thank you very much, Candy Man. It might be like
Mr. We're going to call him Mr. Man.
No.
Okay.
It might. Well, Mr. Man would be interesting.
Mr. Man.
Yeah. But it could also be like he could be like a lawyer. Like I don't know, Herschel Candyman.
What?
Yeah, his name is Herschel Candyman. Like listen,
or his name is like Brian Hershey.
Sure. All right.
I guess I'm kind of partial to Herschel Candyman.
Yes. Well, I mean, he's a man of means.
Yes.
So
and a man of beans, cacao beans.
Okay,
that's chocolate for you. That was a stretch. Signed with love and kisses.
Yes.
Just kidding. He didn't say that. I said that. He says, I highly recommend a Murcielago for your next project. He goes on to list a couple of cars he's owned in the past, F430s, a couple of Scuds, Scuderias for those of you who don't know. He currently has a 458 and an LP640.
Okay.
He says there is, between those two cars,
Right.
there is absolutely no contest as far as the attention and respect and admiration that you get when you go anywhere with what he calls the big boy Lambo. Ferrari gets nice car, but Mercy gets people stumbling into each other and walking out of establishments to take a look.
Okay.
It's a natural progression, baby Lambo to scissor door V12. Plus, there are a lot of raggedy ones out there for you to bring back to life.
Okay. So this is going to be... I'm going to crowdsource this, okay? Because we have some fans. We have literally...
You have more fans.
I have... It bleeds over. It bleeds over. We have, at this point, tens. Nope. Dozens of fans.
Oh my goodness.
We have dozens of fans.
Oh my.
And I'd like to employ those dozens of fans, not monetarily, of course. No. I'd like to crowdsource. Can you find a cheap Murcielago? And I'm saying cheap is relative because a lot of people say to me, you say cheap Lamborghini all the time and your title is why it's not cheap. You know, $64,000 isn't cheap. 64 grand is not cheap when you're looking at, you know,
life.
But what I'm saying, like, it's not cheap if you're looking at like a Honda Civic that costs $2,500.
Right. But in the Lambo world, if you raise your sights to the Lambo world, 64 grand is
64 grand is nothing.
It's bargain.
Yeah, 64. Like somebody spent twice that modifying the car I have.
Yeah.
So 64 grand is not a lot of money to get, especially to get a car like that. So when I talk about cheap Murcielagos, I'm talking about sub $100,000, which is again a lot of money. But in terms of Lamborghini, that is a crazy amount of money. That is a crazy amount of car you get for the money because that car originally was like $350 or something, $350,000, which is more than my house cost. So
it's more than anything I've ever owned, all combined.
Exactly,
and I've owned a house also.
it's more than the internet thinks my net worth is. Apparently, there's a thing there's a site that says what is Tavarish worth, and I have no idea how they reached that number. So. I didn't get a call. Nobody asked me anything. I'm sure that there's a lot of gumshoes, and hopefully nobody's going through my garbage. So
yeah, right.
But that actually is realistically where I want to go because I talked about this in a previous podcast where I wanted to get maybe like a crashed Ferrari and then put like a 458 engine in it. That's fine, you know. But I don't think Ferrari has that same exactly what that guy was talking about. It doesn't have that same draw. People aren't like, whoa.
Right.
That car is a spaceship.
Yeah.
It's huge. It's imposing. It makes all the right noises. The doors go up. Everything is an event with that car. It's kind of hard to drive. It's uncomfortable and whatever. So my friend Ed Bolian from VinWiki, he has had a bunch of these cars. He had actually 2 LP640 gated manuals. And he has a really cool video on his channel about how he had one basically for free because he bought one when the market was low. Like he bought it, I think for, I don't know, like 130,000 or something like that. But then he sold it for 230,000. Like these things went up a lot. So he basically made 100 grand on that car. With that 100 grand, he bought one that was in worse shape, but he could drive it. So he says he didn't want a car that had like no miles that he couldn't drive, he could enjoy. He wanted one with a few miles, had a few issues and whatever that he can resolve and just drive the heck out of it because that's what it's for. You know, he wanted to enjoy it. He wanted other people to enjoy it. And that's basically how he got a car. He got a Lamborghini LP640 gated manual for free, essentially, right? But whenever you have these stories where it's like, oh, I got a Lambo for free, it's like, it's not really for free. Like I first had to spend $130,000 of my own money. So free is, let's say if I sell this Gallardo, let's say I sell it for $100,000 and then I buy something else. Like essentially, if the car already paid for itself, like I'm getting a Lamborghini for free, but it's not really for free, you know, because there's a lot of investment there. There's a lot of, back and forth. But the Lambos, I don't think I can afford an LP anything because, but what I would like to do is maybe get a very early gated manual, and those are really hard to come by. But I think a basket case one of those would probably make the most sense. I've seen one. I've seen a gated, I believe it was like an 04 Murcielago in Florida. And a lot of these have been, they're not flood cars, but I think they're either rentals or something like that. And this one had some body work done, and but they wanted, it was like 55 grand or something. It needed some work, but it ran and drove. I think it might have had like a rear wheel drive conversion, mainly maybe because it had an accident or something. That's one thing that's like really like, it was converted into rear wheel drive. Like, why?
Why do this?
Yes.
Please.
Well, you're missing the 2 drive wheels. That's kind of a big deal, you know. Like, well, it's because when the accident happened, the diff exploded. So
I'm sorry, the what happened? Nothing. It's a sports car.
yeah,
Better sports car.
Well, yeah, it makes you feel the road, and the guy definitely felt the road when he went over the divider. But
By the way, I shouldn't have drank that.
why?
It's just not.
It's not my thing. So we have regular water and we have fancy water. Would you like some regular water?
But this is going to go to waste, and I don't want to waste it.
So, here, have some regular water. I'm the fancy water guy. I'll trade you. I'm not germophobic.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm not really
look at
germophobic either, but you know.
look at that. Okay, so you got regular water for yourself. I love fancy water just because if I'm paying for something, I feel like it should have some sort of experience. You know, if I go to Adam Carolla is a lot like this as well. He's like, well, if I have the choice, when I went to Europe, they always give you a option of gas or no gas for water because everything charges. Like you have to charge for water because apparently Europe is so advanced that they don't have an infrastructure that allows you to drink tap water. So yeah, that's a thing. Like you don't drink the water in Europe. So you have to pay for water everywhere in restaurants and all that stuff. So they ask you if you want gas or no gas, which is just carbonated or whatever. I always get the carbonated. It's a little more fancy, you know. It's not like mineral water. Mineral water is a little different. It has like a different tinge. Mm-hmm. But I get carbonated just because a little fizzy bubbly. It's it's all right. But okay, that's on to the Lambo.
Yes,
I would love a Lamborghini with scissor doors and a V12. I don't love that most of them are the E-gear thing.
Yeah, no, it's gross.
The E-gear is that's just a nasty name for it, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh no, this is an E-gear. Like, oh, God.
It's like when the iPod first came out, and then everything was whatever.
Right. Yeah.
It's just like
it's like everything was turbo in the 80s.
Yeah. Everything was in the aughts.
But e-gear sort of to me it sounds like e-cigarettes. It's like
We get it, you vape.
yeah, we get it, you vape, bro.
We get it, you have a Lamborghini. Which is kind of now. It's kind of that's right now. That's
yeah,
we get it,
dude. All right, just you don't have to do the clickbait titles, all right?
But we do because it's fun.
Well, clickbait, and I've talked about this before. Clickbait implies that I'm misleading people. If I'm misleading people, you let me know. I don't think I'm misleading anybody. I like to be on the gripping titles.
That's fair
because that includes that introduces a knowledge gap for people. That incentivizes a click, meaning that if I say that my Lamborghini's oil looks like a milkshake, but I'm not worried, like people are going to go, well, why not? Why aren't you worried? Like, oh well, this thing was harder than I thought, but it was better than I imagined, something like that, right? And then you're like, well, I need to find out why this is.
I thought this was the thing, and then it was the thing.
Yeah.
But it wasn't. We're here to find out.
But at first I was like, what? And then I was like, oh.
And then I was like,
that's my next video. And then I was like, yeah, so I think I would definitely keep that Lambo train going. So the next build I want to do, the next actual build, is probably going to be the Supra, but I think I want to truck through that pretty quickly.
yeah.
So I was thinking I can make it like a challenge. So the Supra doesn't really have anything wrong with it now. All it needs is it's just slow.
And it's ugly.
What?
Did I stutter? Well, okay, not only is it ugly, like just stock, I don't like the way Supras look, fight me. But
please don't fight Andrew. He hasn't eaten anything today.
You're right, I'm starving. But also, it's just like the color scheme. I'm not really a fan of like how it's.
On my car?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I'm definitely not a fan of that. No, the aesthetics definitely need an overhaul.
We should flat black it with some spray paint.
Okay, yeah. Let's put
With yellow headlights.
It's rally, bro.
Yeah.
It's better in the rain.
Yeah, put a spare tire on the trunk.
Yeah, that's right on the glass, so it just shatters every time.
Yeah.
No. What I was thinking is, I don't know how feasible this is, but You want to do that right into the camera, right into the microphone, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, you want to make sure, like if you're drinking.
Well, I just challenge people to a fight, so I want them to know that I'm not.
It's like, I have a coffee. Instead of like going off camera, I just like.
Yep. Oh yeah, here, hold on. Let me get some water real quick.
Yeah.
Hold on.
That's what we call good pod. Oh my god, you down that thing like it ain't nothing. Wow.
Thanks for listening, guys. I'm glad you are finding this entertaining.
We left a lot of people behind on that bit.
Frederick, are you sure this is water? I feel pretty funny.
I think the Patron came in early.
What did you call me?
So the Supra, I was thinking of maybe doing 10 second
Fast and Furious build.
Yeah, 10 seconds in 10 days.
Yeah, Fast and Furious.
So like if I get all the parts together
Overnight from Japan.
It's can you get stuff overnighted from Japan?
They did
to
Fast and Furious.
Yeah, they're in LA though. Like it's probably a lot easier.
That was almost 20 years ago.
No, really? Oh,
yes.
It's 2001.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, 17 years ago, dude. We're old. We're not really old. But so I mean, if Amazon can do it.
Yeah. But Amazon is built by like those Black Mirror drones. Like
it's racist.
It's So what I was thinking about with the Supra is
10 seconds in 10 days.
In 10 days. So if I got the engine, drivetrain, I got everything on board, and then all I would have to do is install everything, and then on the 11th day, I would go to a dyno and tune it and get to. I think it would have to be like.
Now, you have to do it on the 9th day because on the 10th day you'd have to do 10 seconds.
No, but I would have the build already done, right? So like the build would be done, and I wouldn't touch the car after that. But then I would go, get it tuned, and then. Or the 10th day or whatever, right? Then just to get a 10.9, I think you would need like 600 wheel horsepower, which is definitely doable. I think that's the bare minimum that you'd need on a Supra. You'd probably need like 650 or something. But it's, I think it's doable, but 10 days is not a long time.
No, it's not.
Not a long time for a build. So I'm thinking maybe that works. Or because I love the idea of Adam Savage's one-day builds.
Oh, absolutely.
On his Tested channel, and they do really well. And he's
Adam
like,
Savage is God.
But the thing is, his one-day builds aren't really one-day builds because he's like, oh, I have all this stuff that I did, off camera, and he was like, yeah, I've been working on this for a few months. Here's what I got so far, but I'm just gonna finish it today. Like, okay, that's fine. We'll go along with him. Adam, you're a good guy, Shout out to Adam, by the way, if you want to connect. He's just the best guy.
Oh, he's totally one of our subscribers. Has to be.
Yeah, well, hopefully. But he's a Jalopnik reader, by the way.
Really?
He's definitely a Jalopnik reader. He mentioned Jalopnik a bunch of times in different podcasts, and he retweeted David Tracy because David Tracy once wrote an article about how he went to buy a cheap Jeep XJ, and then David basically saw that this guy was, he didn't know, kind of like he don't know what he had. So David said, all right, I'm not going to buy this car, but I'm going to help you fix it. So he's like, it's a really simple problem. It's like the screws are loose or something in the torque converter. He's like, let's just fix that, and then you'll keep the car because it seems like you need the car. He was like, he's a college student or whatever. He didn't have another car, but he was just selling it because he's throwing his hands up. I don't know what to do. So David fixed the car, and he made an article about it, and Adam Savage retweeted it. He was like, this restored my faith in humanity, And David's just one of those guys. He's like one of the best dudes out there.
Yeah.
And he has a, actually, for those of you who want to know David's antics right now, he's actually rebuilding, he's building a Jeep Cherokee, something like an old Wagoneer, I believe.
Okay, nice.
But he's making it for Moab. And I think yesterday he was late as usual for Moab. And I think Andrew Collins from Jalopnik, he was there helping him. And he's like, nothing good can come from an angle grinder being taken out at 11 p.m. It was like, oh boy, this is fun. But yeah, so I work with Dave Tracy a bunch, and going back to whatever, what were we talking about? I don't know.
V12 Lambos.
Okay,
Well, getting through the super thing first. Getting through the super thing.
Yeah. So getting through the super thing.
What about the MR2?
The MR2. I have a company. Well, I don't have a company, but a company reached out to me called Prime Driven, and Prime Driven is like the company for MR2 stuff. They have everything.
Nice.
Everything, and they want to kind of sponsor the build in that they'll send me like every part I need. So that's fine. The problem is I'd have to finish this Lamborghini before I do any of that. And I don't know when that's going to be because, it's just these things take a little while and I have other engagements and whatever. So it might be a little while, but the MR2, I still have the MR2. I get questions all the time about
all
that
the time.
So what I want to do is have that be a good not a daily driver, but something like a Canyon Carver type car. Weekend car. I want it to have around 250-ish horsepower, which is plenty in that car. And it's going to have, it's going to look good. I want to either do a plasti dip or a wrap or something like that, just something cheap and cheerful. I have actually the guys at Vivid Vinyl. They said that they would send me out some vinyl for the car, but I also told them that I'm not quite sure because my installation skills aren't like, I don't know if I'm going to put the best, quality out there for your product.
Right, yeah.
It's like, yeah, you could do this up by yourself. It's like wrinkles everywhere. And like, guys, I don't like, this is a lot of money. I don't know if you want to do this.
I think that MR2 would look fantastic in a gloss orange.
Are you being facetious?
No.
Maybe. I mean, the thing is, the car is more understated than it should be. I think it should be a little more loud. MR2s to me look best if there's something crazy on them, like a big wing or like
or bright orange.
Bright orange, yeah, could be. Like just a safety cone.
Yeah,
that's not bad. Maybe, yeah. So that has to get done. But I also got word that that my transmission is done for the SL55. Transmission is done. So that has to get shipped.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, I have to install it. I have to make sure the ECU stuff is taken care of. And then I have to make a drive shaft. And then I will have a manual SL55.
And you're going to keep that car, right?
Yeah. I mean, the only way I wouldn't keep it, I was thinking about this, and I might have mentioned this on a different episode, but I'd love to drive it to California and have, there's a bunch of people in California that can review the car. I'd love for Matt Farah to drive it.
Absolutely.
But I would love for Jay Leno to drive it because Jay Leno is a big Mercedes fan. He loves the SL, but I remember him saying that the SL deserves, they never made a true manual. And I think if you put a true manual in this thing, maybe he want to drive it. And if I ever got the chance, I would want, if I made this thing out to be really clean and whatever, I'd sell it to him. I would sell it to him with a caveat that portion of the proceeds have to go to charity or whatever. I would definitely sell it to him, and because where else would the car is going to be taken care of? It's not like some kid is like, oh, cool SL, bro. It's like the guy that I would sell to.
Yeah.
So yeah, and that the first thing they would do is rip apart all your work. And
Take out the
I don't know what you were doing.
Take out the MP3 player, this touchscreen thing. Take out the BC coils. All that's gone.
Yeah, we're gonna put it back to stock. I think this is just convert it back to automatic. What'd you do?
What are you doing?
Yeah. So I think that'd be a cool end to that project. Even though I really love that car.
Yeah, I do too. I rode in it for maybe an hour total, and I'm like, I want one.
It's weird when I rode with you. Maybe that was a good day, but it felt like maybe I haven't ridden that car for a long time. It felt faster than I thought it was because it started we got up to I think it was like 4,000 RPM, and then after that, it just started pulling even more.
Yeah, yeah.
It started getting like real, like whoa. And I'm like, was this always this fast? Like, did that always happen? Because I don't remember that.
Well, I think this was shortly after you had been doing a lot of driving in your truck.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it may have felt faster that way too.
Isn't that so weird?
Yeah.
It's like when you drive in a fast car for a while, like it doesn't feel like anything, and then somebody gets in the car, is like, dude, this is crazy. I remember I had my S-Class, and my S-Class feels like nothing to me right now. It's like it's a fast car. It's 600 horsepower, but it doesn't feel like much. And then I got two people in the car, and I floored it, and they were like, "Oh my god, that's crazy!" And I'm like, "It's all right," you know.
You were like adjusting the mirror and like
Yeah,
checking your teeth, like
picking broccoli in your teeth.
yeah.
Yeah. It's like it's okay. I wish I had, it would be cool if it had 100 more horsepower, right?
And straight pipes.
Exactly, in straight pipes. But that daily driving, straight pipe V12 twin turbo, like
Then get a
little valve.
Yeah.
I'm actually thinking about that, but again, I have way too many projects right now. I'm actually going to do that on the SL. That SL is too quiet. It's
way too quiet.
Yeah. But the SL was very, very surprising as far as how fast it is, because I do have a tune and a pulley on it, and it goes from, I think the stock is 10 psi on that pulley, but then it goes up to like 13 and a half, or maybe 14, something like that, and that is a big difference because the tune also it changes mapping and timing curves for like the mid range, because that car is like, it's all mid range. So it really gives you a punch. Like it's very, very torquey, and I did do some weight reduction with the suspension. So
Yeah.
it's a fun car. It's not a GT car. No, it is a GT car. It's not a sports car. So, but it's a great cruiser, and I want to do some cosmetic mods to it and make sure that it's as clean and whatever. But yeah, Super's getting done. Then MR2. I'm toying around with maybe kind of like sprinkling in MR2 content. Maybe like throughout, like have one big build and then have another one. The problem is people are really, really finicky. So there's a lot of people that want to see consistency. A lot of other people, like a lot of people, when I was doing multiple builds, they didn't like that I was jumping around from one to another. And the views kind of bore this out. Like you saw that the views were kind of weaning on one and going up on the other. And with this Lamborghini, I decided that I'm going to do this, just stay on this one build until it's done. And it seems to be good. Like people like the consistency. There have been a few people that say, "What's up with your other cars?" And I got this one email from a guy today. He said that, well, you don't want to be too much. You don't want to have too much of one thing, because Eric, the car guy, had his Ford Fairmont build, and it almost killed his channel because he kept on putting Fairmont stuff on that channel. And I'm thinking, like, I don't think it's a consistency. It's the fact that it's a Ford Fairmont. That's why. It's not. It's if Eric the car guy did. Listen, I have nothing against Eric the car guy. He's a great guy. I've never met him, but he's everything. Everybody that I've met that have met Eric, awesome dude. I'd love to meet him. He makes awesome content. I've watched many of his videos.
I've never heard of the dude.
So Eric the car guy is one of the biggest automotive YouTubers.
But
he has he's like, he used to be a mechanic by trade. I think he still is, but I think YouTube is his number one thing. And he has like 1 million subscribers.
Wow.
So yeah, but he has a lot of how-tos. It's very it's clinical, but he tells you what you need to do. It's very, very personable. And he has this build where it's he has a Ford Fairmont, and I think it's like turbocharged V8. Like this is like a real race car, but it's a Ford Fairmont, which was actually a Fox body Ford platform. So it has a lot of Mustang parts interchangeability.
All right.
But it looks like an old man's ride, you know?
Yeah. Kind of like the Tornado that Leno did.
Yeah. Sort of like that. But Tornado, like that, Leno did a Tornado that had, instead of being a front wheel drive V8, it was a rear wheel drive with twin turbo and V8 with 1,200 horsepower.
Yeah.
A little bit different.
It's fair.
Yeah. But this was, I think people were turned off by it because they didn't care about the car. And when people don't care about the car, it's like, there's nothing really you can do to excite them about it, because Ford Fairmonts, first of all, people that are young don't know what that is.
Yeah.
And even if you go, oh, well, it's basically a Mustang, but not as good looking or not as good, it's like, why do I care about this? I don't care. But there's also the presentation aspect of it, is like maybe it's not the right, the updates came few and far between. But it's also weird because if you look at something like Project Binky from Bad Obsession Motorsports, their updates are few and far between, but I will drop everything and watch one of those things when it
How long has that been going on?
4 or 5 years. So for those of you who don't know, you need to go onto YouTube right now and go to Bad Obsession Motorsports. They have a project called Project Binky. And if you are at all interested in cars or making parts, like literally making parts from scratch, then you watch this. This is basically a Mini Cooper. These are guys from the UK. And it's a Mini Cooper that they bought. It was like this rusted Mini Cooper. And they had a Celica, Toyota Celica All-Track, which was the all-wheel drive turbo 5-speed, has a 3S GTE first generation. And they're basically putting that drivetrain in a Mini Cooper, which you think would be a little easier than they're making it out to be, except for the fact that they rebuilt the entire car from scratch. They re-engineered everything. They want to have the car be a really good handling platform. They want to make it look like it came that way from the factory. They want to have stuff like AC and whatever. They have a flip front that they made completely from scratch. They re-engineered the suspension, so it's no longer using the same Mini. Like Mini had this weird Conan ball system.
Yeah.
But they re-engineered suspension. They used the coilovers. They integrated the sway bars, the stock sway bars from. It's insanity.
Yeah, it's like it's obsession to like an incredible level.
Yeah. So not only that, they made the tooling for this car. So instead of the main guy, like buying a rotisserie for a car, which is something that you put the car on so you can roll it over and then work on the underside while you're standing up, they built a rotisserie that has hydraulic lifting, and they built these tools from scratch. They built all their own jigs, and it's taken to the nth degree. They have that engineering, and it's taken to the nth degree.
Basically, a British mechanical version of Obsessed Garage, but more obsessed.
Obsessed Garage doesn't hold a candle to that sort of. Obsessed Garage is he's pedantic, but that is. Like it might border on like criminal. Like it's like mastermind type stuff.
Yeah.
I actually tweeted them a while back. They I think they said something to me on Twitter, and I invited them over here. I said, if you're ever in Florida, stay at my house. You can drive nice cars.
Yeah.
They're like they're like we'll take you up on that. So we'll see. I mean everybody says yeah we'll do it. If they actually showed up, dude, wouldn't that be awesome?
That would be kind of crazy.
Wouldn't that be nice?
That'd be wouldn't it be nice if Project Binky?
Yeah, that'd be great.
I think I've rewritten lyrics to that song once before in this podcast already.
Mm-hmm. Yes. I believe.
I'm a one-trick pony.
Hello. Yeah. So I think that'd be good. I can't even remember what we were talking about. It had something to do. Every time
we were talking about progression from basically getting from Gallardo to Murcielago.
Okay,
that's where we were.
So Murcielago would be. I was thinking that I could sell the Gallardo and get a Murcielago. The more I work on this car, the more I realize I don't really want to sell it.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
So
you're just going to be a 2 Lambo guy?
Well, here's the thing. A second Lamborghini costs a lot of money.
Yeah.
So that is a problem. That's a problem because there's a lump of money that I need to buy this car, and I don't have this lump of money.
But are you gonna keep the Supra?
No.
Are you gonna keep the MR2?
No. Well, the MR2 is like. All right, so we have the Supra and we have the MR2.
Okay, so that's also a no.
Yeah. So the MR2, I mean, I could probably sell it for after I'm done with it, $4,000 maybe.
Hey, that's $4,000 you didn't have before.
Sure, I guess. But the Supra, I can if I do it right, I could probably sell it for $35,000-$40,000, maybe, depending on how prices are going and if I get this good, and I don't piss too many people off with You used Ford parts on your Lamborghini, dude. That's gonna blow up. It's gonna blow up. You know,
Even though it's just a tube.
right? It's a tube. Like, if I didn't tell you it was a Ford part, you wouldn't care.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Supra is definitely going because I don't. Maybe I haven't bonded with it. You know, I don't really think it's that good of a value. I don't think it's special. But then again, I haven't driven a 600 horsepower Supra, so maybe it's like a religious experience. You know.
What about an NSX?
I don't like it.
Okay.
I'm not a fan of it. A lot of people are gonna not like that, but I think Tyler Hoover did a really good thing by trading his NSX for a Ferrari. I think the Ferrari is a more engaging car. It sounds better. It looks better. Has more power, and it's more desirable. Well, I don't know if it's necessarily more desirable because there's a lot of people who are like NSX, oh, you know. So I don't know, but I would have definitely done that trade.
Really?
Yeah, I would have done that. I don't know if I would have done 10 grand on top because the NSX is like, I would have negotiated a little bit. But
Didn't he offer 10 grand up top?
That's what he said. I'm not sure if that's
Are
necessarily.
you not taking Hoovie's word as gospel? Are you doubting the Hoove?
I'm not doubting the who. Actually, he's never. He's a really truthful guy, so I wouldn't have any reason to doubt him. But
Okay.
I just I don't know when somebody says that yeah, I did offer him like a really low price for the Mercedes, and then there's no negotiation there. It was just like, I'll give you 12 grand. He was like, done. I'm like, okay.
I said $12. Done.
Start arguing against himself. 10. Yeah. So he was actually gonna. Here's a little insight into the life of Tavarish and Hoovie. Well, Tyler Hoover. So he offered me the Bentley, and I knew what was wrong with the car. Like the car likely had some cylinder head work needed, but it was like it had low compression on one cylinder, which is not good. So maybe bent valve, or maybe there's like, it's most likely just caked on crud from on the valves, which is not that big of a deal, but it had like other issues, and like those cars are pretty expensive to maintain just because you need a lot of like you need a lot of Volkswagen specific, well, not Volkswagen, but Volkswagen Audi group specific stuff. So it's not like a Lamborghini where everything is sort of accessible. That car, it's very tightly packaged. So it's a twin turbo W12. And I think he offered to me for like 15 or 17 grand or something, like something really low. And I was very, very tempted, but I had a Lamborghini build. I have a Supra, I have a SL55, I have MR2, and I have this daily driver that I'm going to make content on. Like, people would like it, but I think they would like it for like the first episode.
Yeah.
And then they would go, I don't really care about this. But if I got a clapped out Murcielago, and that's something I wouldn't do a twin turbo kit on. I would
Why not?
No. Murcielago. There are Murcielagos that have twin turbos.
Yeah.
I don't think it adds anything. I would have that have like some really nice exhaust. Dude, it had like 600 horsepower. I don't need. I'm like, one thing that car is.
You're losing me here.
No, I wouldn't do a twin turbo. I would keep that NA. I would just have just make that into a project, but just kind of a restoration thing. Maybe do some body mods or something like that. You know, just keep
Liberty Walk kit.
That's a thing that people do, right? Yes, not something I would do, but
Why? You don't want to be a cool stance guy?
Well, how about this? We can both buy Lamborghinis, and you can have a Liberty Walk kit.
I'll buy a toy.
I'll buy a toy. Here you go. There you go. Yeah. Behold.
I don't have enough money.
Well, I mean, neither do I. I can't afford a Murcielago. I looked at prices today. I'm like, let me see where they're going for. Like, no. And it's really hard to find them. Just basket case Lamborghinis. You'd think that they'd be around everywhere. You hear stories about, oh, this dead rapper Murcielago and blah, blah, blah. And like, this is...
Dead rapper?
Yeah, actually, Rob Ferretti had a video about that. There was a Murcielago that was owned by he's not a rapper, but he was like a kind of a gangbanger type guy, and he had a wake, and he had a Lamborghini, right? So in his wake, they put him in the car instead of being in a casket. They put him in the car, kind of standing up, and like his eyes were open, and that became known as a dead rapper Lamborghini. And it was like I believe it was a yellow car, but it had red and yellow interior. And that got passed around for a while, but then they changed the color and they tried to mask it and whatever. Honestly, if I had like, I love a car with a story. That's a heck of a story.
Yeah, I guess, but there's also a dead dude sitting in it. So
yeah, I mean, people are like, listen, you can paint those seats, but like those juices are still in there. You know? But who knows? All right, so save for a dead person sitting in the car. I wouldn't mind getting a clapped out one. I try not to get one with like body damage because those body panels are a lot of money, and I'm not about to do Lamborghini body work because I just took mine apart and I'm like, this is pretty crazy. I mean, like this, if you bend one thing, like the entire structure is like off kilter. So it's kind of like a race car. It's just kind of like girders, you know, like it's built like an office building, and then they just have like this veneer on top. Like, this is a sports car. I was like, no, it's really just like a bunch of tubes.
No, it's really just a bunch of tubes.
Yeah, so I mean I think that's it. I'd really love a Lamborghini Murcielago. If you guys have any leads on cheap Murcielagos, non-running, maybe need some work, and somebody's off their lease and like, well, it's paid for, but they just can't maintain it or something, or needs a clutch. Please let me know. iwrencheveryday@gmail.com. And I think that's a good thing to end on. What do you think?
Yeah, all right.
All right, you want to hear an argument from me? Yeah, go ahead.
Didn't have much to say because I can't afford a Lamborghini.
Listen, I can't afford lots of cars. I can't afford the Koenigsegg that we were talking about in the last episode. But sometimes you just got like you can. Here's the thing with journalism and vlogging and whatever, you can always punch up. You can always be like, you know what, that Lamborghini that I can't afford, that sucks. You never want to punch down because then it's like people can call you out for stuff. And then, but the thing is, if you get on top and then you can now afford Lamborghinis, then you got to be nice to everybody. That's the problem. That's how the world works.
I drive a Ford Focus. So
okay, all right. Well, that's.
Your Lamborghini's good.
You just suck. All right, so that's gonna be it. If you guys want to reach us at on the emails, that's gonna be iwrencheveryday@gmail.com, and we do read every single one. At least Andrew does.
It comes right to my phone.
Yeah, so right to his phone. You're gonna be buzzing in his pocket. Isn't that gonna be nice? So every time you send an email,
okay, we're done.
It's gonna.
Thank you for watching.
It's directly.
Thank you
it's
so
a
much for
sensation
watching.
directly in his
really
pants.
Appreciate it.
Yes. If you want to reach me, I'm at the real Tavarish. That is Instagram and Twitter. Facebook.com/AskTavarish and AskTavarish@gmail.com is my email. But direct all podcast questions to iwrencheveryday@gmail.com. Andrew, where can people find you?
I can be found on Twitter at 1565. That's the word 15, the number 65, and also at Heavy Metal FL on Instagram. Also, we have Wrench Every Day Twitter and Instagram at Wrench Every Day.
Okay, awesome. So, so that's going to be it. This is me, Tavarish, not remembering his name, for Andrew Howell, reminding you guys to wrench every day. That's not how you use a screwdriver.
But, you're wrenching.